everybody, and you're very welcome to the Agricultural Sciences student panel discussion here as part of UCD Open Day 2020. I'm delighted to be joined by three of our final year students, Dara Brady, Isabel Jones and Sean Tonra. And over the next 20 minutes, Isabel, Dara and Sean are going to share with us perhaps some of their experiences of their time at UCD. So Dara, we might start with you if that's okay. Maybe just talk us through a little bit of how you chose the program that you chose, how you ended up in UCD, and maybe, how you've experienced it so far.
Perfect. Yeah. So my name is Dara Brady. I'm a current fourth year dairy business student. I chose dairy business just when I finished my leaving cert, I suppose. Why I chose it, come out of the dairy industry, I suppose I don't come from a dairy farm for a start. I come from an agricultural consultancy firm that predominantly deals with dairy farmers. The abolition of quotas in 2015, obviously the Irish dairy industry was undergoing a massive kind of era of growth. And I suppose I just saw the dairy business course, one of the only ones in offer in Ireland, incorporating both a kind of mix of science and business modules, which I quite liked. I was good at business in school. I was also good at science, and I kind of wanted, rather than focusing probably solely on science or business, I wanted a mix of both. So, UCD Dairy Business was the obvious choice. It also offered 20 weeks of work placement, be it in Ireland. A lot of guys go to New Zealand or abroad. I made full use of that as well. I'll talk about it in a minute. And again, it being delivered, the School of Ag and Food is rated within the top 24 schools of ag worldwide, globally. And as is, I'm sure, the Queen's School of Businesses as well. So that's basically why I chose dairy business. It's a 4-year degree. The first, second year and fourth year are based at a UCD in Belfield. Third year is actually unique, I suppose, compared to the rest of the programs, in that you actually don't spend third year on campus at all. So the first 6 months are kind of spent on placement. So work placement, be it in, as I said, Ireland, New Zealand or abroad. And the second 6 months are spent in Teagasc Moor Park in County Cork, which is a kind of research hub and a really, really interesting period of course for me, and which I'm actually recently enough after coming out of. So I really thoroughly enjoyed that. I suppose just on the kind of moving up to Dublin side of it as well. Big change for me, definitely. I suppose ag wasn't probably offered in Cork to the same degree or to the same extent that it was in Dublin. I moved on campus for first year. Definitely, I would recommend that to any student. I think maybe Sean and Isabel would probably agree as well that moving on campus is definitely a huge experience in terms of making friends, just accessing lectures, and like finding friends to move out with as well in second, third year and fourth year is definitely a massive plus, and it just makes everything easier. And kind of, I'm sure Sean will probably elaborate on AgSoc as well, the events they hold on campus, and even making friends in that, it's very easy in terms of making friends in ag. And I suppose getting into the kind of technical aspect of the course, first year is kind of brings everyone up to the same level, in that you kind of do a good mix of business and science modules. Everyone kind of does introductory chemistry, introductory physics, introductory maths and stats. Second year probably hones in slightly more in the dairy industry and business as well, as you're spending a bit more time in the Loughlin Quinn School of Business, which I quite liked as well, because not only do you get the kind of ag side of thinking as well, you also get a lot of the concepts and theories taught through the Quinn School of Business, which I probably in my own head I'm thinking of ag examples all the time, but a lot of it is still very applicable and is extremely applicable to Irish dairy farm businesses and businesses in ag in general, be it processors, advisory as such. Third year for me was definitely the highlight of the course. Commencing at the end of second year, you start around a 4-week placement down in Kildalton, which kind of prepares you for the PWE program. The PWE program is 20 weeks of professional work experience, which is undertaken abroad, or as I've said, in Ireland. For me, I undertook it in Chile, so I suppose I was lucky enough. Valerie, I started organising it in November of 2018 for heading away in 2019 with a global agricultural asset manager who had dairy farms out in southern Chile. So I suppose in terms of how it related to my PWE, kind of focuses on 4 main aspects in terms of grassland management, given that our own indigenous dairy industry is predominantly grass-based, financial management, dairy husbandry, and actually you're testing me now in the last one.
That's okay.
Brady and genetics is the last one. Yeah.
But I suppose going to Chile was an amazing experience, and it's I think you were the first student from dairy business to travel to Chile. I think a lot of the students would travel to New Zealand and Australia every year. So I suppose tell us a little bit about going to Chile.
Am I going to, yeah, so I suppose, yeah, just going back, majority of the class did go to, I suppose over 90% of the class did go to New Zealand, and New Zealand is the mecca of dairying in the Southern Hemisphere, if not in the world. And I suppose Chile, I was up for the unique challenge, definitely presented lots of different challenges. I went out there at the end of July, just caught the end of the autumn herd being bred, started the spring herd calving and breeding, subsequent breeding of that coming into late October, start of November. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyed it. Brilliant system they have running down there. Unique aspect in that it was run by a corporate fund, so a lot of kind of due diligence, a lot of corporate governance, a lot of ESG, kind of environmental, social, corporate governance, compliance, trying to keep investors happy, complying with sustainable development goals. All really interesting, probably different to your kind of owner-occupier scenario, which you normally see in Ireland or New Zealand. But completely different, unique culture. Absolutely thoroughly enjoyed my 20 weeks down there. Like the amount of opportunities that opened up for me was absolutely huge, and I genuinely could not have done without it, through the School of Ag and Food and through their support in terms of getting me out there and maintaining that support throughout my 20 weeks in Chile.
Great, and you mentioned, I suppose, the global. I suppose that's one of the benefits, and we can talk about it a little more here as well. But the agricultural science graduates, they can be employed anywhere, and the opportunity to travel abroad is huge. And I think you probably gained a lot of experience there, and will stand probably when you've qualified and you go looking for your first job to say that you traveled abroad.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's just, and even through the context I made through that in PWE, I was able to go see some of the biggest grassland farms in the world. Like nothing about, it certainly opened up my eyes, nothing like I've ever seen before. I mean, Manuka, Chile, we're around 27,500 or 36,000 cows on a 22,500 hectare estate. I was able to go up to Brazil afterwards and see more farms up there. And again, all these guys are actively hiring, looking for good agriculture graduates. So it would definitely be I'd be looking at going to those places when I finish my degree.
Great, so a great experience. Yeah, Isabel, we might move on to you next now, if that's okay, just to make sure we have enough time to speak to you. Again, if you just wanted to introduce yourself, tell us what program you're doing, what year you're in, and maybe how you ended up choosing this program.
Yeah, so my name is Isabel Jones. I'm in the final year of Food and Agribusiness Management, and I'm from County Louth originally, and I knew that I wanted to kind of move away from home, go to college in Dublin, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. I hadn't done ag science in school. My dad's a vet, but I didn't want to go down that route. I didn't want to just do commerce. So then I came across food and agribusiness, and it seemed like the perfect harmony of kind of science, which I liked in school, but also the business side of things without doing your 3-year commerce degree. Originally, I was a little bit nervous coming in because I obviously I'm not from an agricultural background. I thought that would be a major disadvantage. I didn't do it in school, but I actually found that I was at no disadvantage whatsoever. All modules are basically started presuming you've no knowledge. It would help if you did ag, but like you learn it and it's fine. So yeah, I love the course, and I think I don't know what else I would have done that I would have preferred. So it was a perfect choice for me. And I liked that the first 2 years are mainly science-based, and then the last 2 years are mainly business. And so you get a nice variety of the two. And then in third year, similarly to Dara, you've the option to do a semester abroad, and then you've 28 weeks of professional work experience. So I really took advantage of those two.
Okay, so actually, I might just mention to anybody that's listening in today that all our programs, so dairy business is structured slightly different in that you go to Moore Park in third year, but all of our other programs in the agricultural sciences degrees, the first semester of third year, you have the opportunity, if you wish, to travel abroad and spend a semester studying. We have 13 partner universities. So I think, Isabel, you studied abroad, so maybe just tell us a little bit about that.
So I studied abroad at Cornell University, which is based in upstate New York, and it's an Ivy League college, which is obviously, if you get the opportunity to go somewhere like that and experience that kind of level of just different teaching, I said I'd try my best, try to get it, and I was lucky enough to get a spot. I think there was 5 others between the School of Ag and Food Science. So we went over there, classes started kind of end of August. I had 4 different modules. You've to kind of partner them up with modules at home. But like I had professors who were climatologists who worked creating like the documents for the IPCC. Like it was just this whole new level of competitiveness. It was a different structure because it's a lot more continuous. Then we would have our end of semester exams in UCD, but you just get in the flow of things. Like you have to work. It's obviously going to be difficult, but if you worked in UCD, you're doing similar topics, and just we got the opportunity. Then you get some time off, so we traveled to the city for one of the breaks. We went up to Montreal for Thanksgiving, we got to go to Boston to an NBA game, so we just really took advantage of it. And I think that's originally why I saw food and agribusiness. I knew that I wanted to go abroad for a semester, because an opportunity like that to live somewhere else for 5-6 months, to meet all these different people, nationalities, like I don't know why you wouldn't do it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and a great opportunity as well. I think anybody who's travelled, abroad, they highly recommend it as one of the features of the 4 years. But also, it really opens your eyes to that agriculture is such a global program, and the opportunities when you're finished are so global. But you get to experience it, I suppose, in another country and really see it with your own eyes. So I think that's a great opportunity for people as well. We might move on then. So you came back from your study abroad, and I think you went straight into your PWE, which is your professional work experience. So again, I know Dara mentioned his professional work experience in Chile, but just I'm conscious that maybe some people watching us here today aren't familiar with all the detail. So all our programs as well at the school include a professional work experience, or you may know it as an internship placement. There are varying lengths between them, but I think they're from 16 weeks to 4 months. So Isabel, you might just tell us a little bit about your PWE and your experience.
Yeah, so I actually completed mine in Deloitte in the Dublin office, and people would have thought it was kind of an unusual choice for an ag science student, but the great thing about food and agribusiness is that you can go into either ag industry or the normal business world. So the reason I chose Deloitte was I wanted to sample corporate life, to get a snippet of it, to see if I would like it after graduation. So I was in the corporate finance department on the debt and capital advisory team. So the reason I went in there, they don't usually take, usually they take audit or tax interns. But I wanted to go there because they do debt raises and prepare the documents for them. But they also do it for a lot of agri-businesses. So this is where I saw that the stuff that I had learned in UCD to do with ag can be put into practice in the business world. So it was great. It was a great experience. And to just get that, to do that for the 28 weeks.
Yeah, and it is something that a lot of people maybe don't appreciate, but we would have a lot of graduates who work for the likes of, the Grant Thornton, the PwC, and it is a whole area. So, and, I think people maybe don't realise that, but certainly there's lots of opportunities. And banking as well, a lot of people would go and they would work in banking, so there's lots of opportunity there. And again, as I said to Dara, maybe outside of the classroom and outside of the learning, is there anything else that you were involved in? I know kind of clubs and societies and sporting is a huge part of the student experience at UCD. I know our Dean of Agriculture often says that learning is only half the experience when you go to university. So maybe just, anything you'd like to say on that?
Yeah, so probably one of the highlights of my time at UCD was I participated in the Great Agri-Food Debate in 2019. So that's run by Dawn Meats. And it's just, there was a team, we represented UCD and any other colleges around Ireland who have an ag science department compete against each other. There are various topics and motions. And it's a great couple of days. It takes a bit of work, but you prepare your debates, and it's run by Dawn Meats. You meet everyone there, industry experts or judges. So if I'm applying for jobs next year, and if one of the judges either didn't like me or liked me, hopefully, I might have a better shot at getting the job. But then aside from academics, I am part of UCD sailing. So we go to weekend trips. Just a whole new group of friends through that. Went to varsities, and if you're interested in any sort of sport, it's definitely something to get involved in while at UCD.
Yeah, I think there's over 80 clubs and societies. There are sports clubs and societies in UCD, so it's a huge element. We might, thank you very much, Isabel. We might come back in a few minutes. Sean, we might say hello to you now, if that's okay. Thank you for waiting.
Thanks for having me.
Do you want to introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit, as with Dara and Isabel, about how you chose the programme and how you came to study in UCD?
Perfect. So my name is Sean Tonra. I'm a final year animal and crop production student in UCD. I suppose choosing agriculture, I would have grown up on a suckler beef farm at home in the heart of Mayo. And I previously would have spent my summers with my dad, long days, kind of engaging with animals and working on the land. And I really enjoyed it, and I was kind of just fascinated with the whole agri-food sector. And then when it came to choosing and filling out my CO form, I was researching the programs all around Ireland, and I kind of felt that UCD offered the broadest aspect of the agricultural science course in the country. So I would have chose straight animal and crop production, but there is also an omnibus route option. And I'd encourage anyone going to choose agriculture in UCD to choose the omnibus route. It won't affect you hugely if you don't, but it kind of gives you more options. You'll be able to specify in the 5 different programs that are on offer. I know Dara and Isabel are in 2 separate ones to me, so I would have been in a lot of their lectures in first year, but then as you move through the course, it kind of specializes then towards your animal and crop production, which I am studying. I suppose the first 2 years, you're getting your fundamentals, a lot of science, business, but it's all very well taught, and everybody's taught from an aspect where they mightn't understand it, and they're brought to a level where everyone understands it and everyone's on the same page for the further on modules that we've kind of studied this year and last year. I suppose moving from Mayo to Dublin, big aspect, and it was very daunting at first. I'd only previously had bad experiences with Dublin, I suppose, with heartbreak in Croke Park and long drives home. So it's kind of something I grabbed with 2 hands, and I love the atmosphere and the fast pace around the campus and the city, and it's something I really enjoyed. And obviously, it's hard to gauge for someone that hasn't experienced it yet, but I'd really encourage them to kind of push yourself outside your comfort zone. I know COVID has changed a lot of our lives at the minute, and it's kind of made us as students move out of our comfort zone again. But moving out of your comfort zone then with college, I'd encourage you to kind of pick the one that you might not think you do, and you never know what might happen.
Yeah. And I might just mention to anyone who's watching the omnibus route again, just so they're not clear to it. So actually, and there's a slight restructuring this year. So for people applying for the 2021, there's 11 programs now within the DN 250 Agricultural Sciences. So if you know what program you'd like to do, you can select that straight away. But what the omnibus does is it allows you to come in and you have a common first year. As much of you guys mentioned earlier, you have a common first year, so you don't have to choose your specialization until the end of first year. So you come in first year and it's common subjects all the way through, and it gives you a time to get a little bit of a flavour of all the subjects and see what area of interest. And I think that offers a lot of flexibility for people. It's hard enough filling out your CAO, trying to make the decision of exactly what you want to do, can be a little bit challenging. So just to let people know what that is. And then Sean, we might move on because you have a very exciting role this year. So I know we spoke about maybe, you're from Mayo, so moving up from Mayo, and, we mentioned clubs and societies is huge. It's a really important part of the experience that students go through. And there is quite an active student society in the UCD School of Agriculture and Food Science building. So you might tell us a little bit about that, and then I know and your role then this year within the society.
Yes, so AgSoc, I suppose, to sum it up in a whole, has been a major player in my college life. Really has been one of my highlights of my 4 years to date. It's a society run by students for students, with the purpose of benefiting students on social aspects, as well as industry talks, career talks, and it's essentially there for everybody to kind of engage with and provide. The goal of the charity, it's the society every year, the goal is to raise money for charities. So last year I was a part of a committee that raised over 60,000 for Choctaw, and I'm after forgetting the other charity, I apologise. But that money was raised over various events, ran through the calendar year, be it social aspects, sporting activities, and debates, as Isabel was involved in as well. I suppose my role this year is I'm the chair of the careers committee. So I'm heavily engaged with your office and Damien Dempsey and the UCD Careers Network. So I'm engaging with the School of Agriculture to organise talks and industry discussions and career workshops, which usually would take place in a physical environment, but we've all been affected by COVID. That's all moving to a virtual medium. So Instagram Lives are the new norm and Zooms. But we're working best we can to kind of benefit students so they can get skills and foundations to help them apply for jobs and graduate programs in a better manner than they would have kind of looking for these skills without this society there. February then there's a huge career fair, it's the biggest on campus. And I suppose with agriculture being 8 or 9% of the total employment in the country, it's a huge thing in that 50 companies plus from around Ireland come and engage with students on the day, and they let students know information about roles and careers that are out there. It's often hard, even myself now at the minute, to know what the next step is, where to go, and it's a great time for students to hear what's out there and what companies have to offer and what skills they are looking for, which UCD provides in abundance, all these skills and kind of ambitions and everything that the students really want to show is provided by the school through it.
Yeah, and I think it's important to highlight how big the Careers Day is. You know, it's testament to the society that it is the largest student organised career event on campus every year, without doubt, you know. And I think you need to take credit for that, the AgSoc does. And there was over 50 exhibitors last year, but maybe just give us a little flavour of the exhibitors that are there. You know, they are the big companies, and they are there and they are looking for staff, and they're there every year. You know, we would have already received some emails from companies, you know, asking about, you know, the Careers Day 2021. So maybe just, you know, an idea of the companies that are there. And
so I suppose that it's grown from strength to strength every year. It's really, last year I think there was over 50 companies in attendance, as I said previously, with the likes of Glambia, the Irish Farmers Journal, Arrivo, Lakelands, Dairy Gold, all the big multinational players that are kind of nearly world renowned all around the world, and the global aspect of it as well. I suppose the virtual medium this year would nearly benefit the likes of this careers fair, with potentially employers from further afar coming to engage with the students as well. There's huge interest from students and employers alike, and as I said before, it's great to see the opportunities that are out there for the students.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody else wants to maybe comment, but I think it's something that comes up constantly, is that, you know, the regard that employers have for graduates from the School of Agriculture and Food Science. Like, it is a highly regarded degree, and the companies do come knocking on the door, so to speak, every year. They want to speak to students and they want to hear from students. I'm not sure, you know, if any of you have thought about your plans for, I know you're all in final year, have anyone thought of their plans for when they finish, or are you just focused on getting your exams done, or what's your experience being maybe in thinking towards next year?
Obviously exams are foremost. Have to get my degree first, but further education is definitely something that's knocking in the back of my mind. I'm very intrigued to kind of get a business aspect to my degree. I'm researching masters there in UCD Smurfit at the minute, and if that doesn't work out, then I'd be potentially looking for a nutrition role, or kind of a technical aspect role where you'd be engaging with farmers and formulating diets and stuff like that. But it's a long time. It's not that long time away yet. And I suppose every year since I've been here, there's always up on social media the ranking of the UCD School of Agriculture. That needs to be commented on as well. It's one of the top whatever about in Ireland, but globally it's ranked very highly. So I'd encourage a lot of students to look at that and see how world renowned the degree really is.
Right. Okay, we're probably nearly out of time. So maybe if we go around to everybody really quickly and I suppose 2 questions. Your highlight from your time so far in UCD, and if you think back to so the people who are watching us here today are kind of considering their options and just wondering what to do. If you maybe think back to when you were in their shoes, a little piece of advice for them, perhaps. Isabel, if we start with you.
So one of probably the best thing about this course for me was the chance to go abroad to Cornell. It was stand to you in the future, but whatever about future prospects, the 5 months that I had there, you'd never get that experience anywhere else. So that was definitely, I would recommend going abroad to any university to everyone. And to 6 years, I feel a bit sorry for you. I didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. I went to UCD. I must have gone to every talk. I didn't know what I wanted. And I settled on food and agribusiness because it's versatile. There's loads of options afterwards, as we've just discussed. There's great graduate programs available within industry. And you're not stuck within one discipline. And also the boys were saying about, like Dara was saying, how great being on campus is. And if you can move up to Dublin at all, I'd say do. But I actually didn't live on campus. I lived off campus. And I would think I would have found this very difficult, except for that everyone in ag science, regardless of who you are, I wasn't from a farm, like they make a joke out of it. They're so friendly, so nice. So I think it's such a great school to be in.
Thank you. Dara?
Yeah, I suppose definitely the highlight for me, the degree, is probably everyone knows at this stage. Probably definitely third year, I suppose, as a whole. I mean, in short, the PWE having the opportunity to head out to Chile, totally new culture, and the contacts made. I suppose on top of that, then coming back and going to Moore Park, and like down there, you're being taught by, it was like Isabel and Cornell, like some of the top guys in the game, and like fully enough, they're all UCD ag graduates as well. I mean, Donaberry, top geneticist, Lawrence Liu, top economist. All those guys are really in the best in their game, and they're giving you their time of day, which is really, really cool. I suppose my advice to a person coming in, definitely don't limit yourself and go to the university that's closest to you, or go to, there's ag close to me here, I'm going to go here because it's only 10, 15, 20 minutes down the road. Having the opportunity to move away from home was definitely the highlight for me as well. And again, the ag program is specifically now, because dairy business is being included in the omnibus program. I definitely 100% would pick it now, definitely.
Sean, final word to you.
Touching on what Isabel and Dara have said as well, third year, definitely the highlight of my college experience to date. With regards to modules in first semester, third year, we were touching on nutrition, breeding, reproduction, things that are really interesting, and we got into real scientific detail, and it gives you a great idea and skills that you will be able to transfer to the industry at a future date. As well as that, I suppose we were kind of unfortunate when it came to our PWE experience. In the ACP, there is 30 weeks we have to complete, but with regards to COVID, that kind of threw in a curveball to our whole program. The placement I completed was a lot different to the placement I had initially thought out, but even the companies and the farms I attended, I developed great skills and got to meet a lot of people as well that have they're more than willing to learn and teach you everything you want to know, as long as you want to engage with them. Touching on what Dara said as well, I suppose, don't limit yourself to where your friends are going and where that group is going. I remember traveling up to Dublin, I was all by myself. And I suppose another highlight, I know I'm touching on another one, the community aspect that's within the School of Agriculture. It's massive. Everybody is friends. And I suppose the tea room and the common room is a brilliant outlet to students to relax and kind of meet new people, and there's can meet friends anywhere. And I suppose that was definitely a real highlight as well.
Great. So all good.
Yeah.
From everybody. Thank you very much. That was great. Very informative. I think you have provided a lot of information for people who are watching, and I hope hearing the student experience will maybe contribute a little bit in helping you make your decision. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the open day.